Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am still in the best mood and have now physically recovered from my very first in-person event, which I hosted last week on Saturday, the 5th of October. And I wanted to record this while I'm still on this high to share with you what went on that day and what went well, but also maybe some mistakes or things that I'd do differently last time, because there were definitely a few. But it was my first event. So it is a learning lesson. I'm absolutely fine with that. And it still went even better than I could have imagined. I've done speaking gigs before and gone to people's workshops, like at my chiropractors. I've done lecturing for the college that I studied at, the College of Naturopathic Medicine, but I've never had my own full day event. And this has been a goal for years now. It's actually 10 years since I started studying nutrition. That was in 2014. I graduated in 2017, but to flash back 10 years ago, where I was just embarking on my journey, and now I had a sold out event and people literally flew from different countries to come. It means the world, and I'm just feeling so good, and I'm finally celebrating myself. I've had to learn to do this just because my brain is always thinking of like what's next and like, oh yeah, that was fine, but I really want to like celebrate this achievement because it's been a goal for a while now. But in January I put it on my resolutions list, I put it on my vision board, and my vision came to life, and I can finally cross it off as achieved. I've done it. I had the best day, and the attendees had such a good time as well. I have a little collection of testimonials now. But in this episode, I want to share, yeah, what happened, what the different like talks and things were on. And if any of you are interested in hosting events, if you're a practitioner or a student or you're in a different industry, doesn't matter, just what I can share with you in terms of words of advice or what I do differently today. So in total, there were around 25 of us there, including my very lovely assistant. So shout out to my boyfriend Luke, his mum, and my friend Laura even came early as well to help on the day. And I don't think I could have done it as it was without their help, unless I had way less stuff and way more time in the morning, because it just went by so fast. And I had loads of products to gift to the attendees. There was a lot of cleaning up afterwards because we had food. So I'm guessing if you don't give out goodie bags or you don't have a lunch or anything like that, it will be a lot easier if you're just showing up and talking all day. But yeah, mine had loads of extra things that I needed. So the car was absolutely packed to the brim that day. We brought my dog along, which I thought I might regret, but he was a little superstar on the day, and everyone loved to see little Norman. So I'm glad he came. He was no trouble at all. He did do a little wee on someone's tote bag. I'm just glad it was not the real bag or like a designer purse or something. It was a tote bag that I'd handed out, so we had some extras, so that was swapped. And she was really lovely about it, but I knew I was like keeping my eye on him when I was doing a talk, and then just like, oh, he's just in a little way. I was like, I'm so sorry. But his cuteness definitely made up for it. And then, yeah, towards the end of the day, we had to stay up and like clean everything. So it was a very long day. I woke up at 6 a.m. and we only got home at like 7:30. So yeah, quite intense. And I did mention it earlier in the year on social media. So, like in January, February time, I probably mentioned that I wanted to do this, but tickets officially went on sale at the end of July, just over 3 months in advance, which my one of my friends who does events and things told me give it a lot of time. And I was like, yeah, 3 months will be fine. A lot of people have said that they can come, but I do agree the longer the better with this sales period. I'm going to sneak these little bits of advice and little mistakes in here as I go. So yeah, the first one would be to give yourself like 3 minimum months, ideally 6 months of time to sell the tickets and everything, because some people love to book things last minute, because if you're asking someone what they're doing July next year on a Saturday, they're like, I have no idea, and they don't want to commit to something. But then there's other people who are like, yeah, I'll be fine, I'm free. They booked immediately and then they can't come, they cancel last minute. So I think just giving yourself as much time as possible. If there are any cancellations or tickets to sell, you'll feel less stressed. doing so. And something that I kind of knew, but it really showed its importance is the fact that these events, especially for me and like in my industry, don't go into it with the expectation that you're going to make a lot of money. I didn't do this to earn a profit or anything. It really was just a passion project, and I just wanted to bring clients together and do something in Manchester for a change because a lot of wellnessy things are in London, and give my clients an opportunity to meet up, or people on social media who follow me and people just want to make friends. That was the reason that I was doing it. A lot of people actually lose money on events, but I managed to make a little profit. Definitely not a lot, but it will pay for fuel and the time for the day and everything. But if you're going to spend money, I would spend it on the venue. I think that's really important. So the venue that I had was very local and easy to get to. The room was amazing, just very light, and it was designed for yoga and talks and everything. So yeah, really perfect. And then for food, if you're doing food, I would say spend on that as well, because I think that's important. And if you're a nutritionist like me, the food is really important. So I mentioned to the caterers that it has to be gluten-free, it has to be the best quality ingredients, it has to be like free of refined sugars and what was it? Oh, seed oils. I said, can you cook everything in olive oil or coconut oil? Just no canola oil, please. And they were great. I think if you're paying them, they're gonna they're gonna have to do what you're saying. And they were the only real costs, I say. And oh, I also had two practitioners joining me, so I paid for um, my client Jasmine. She's a practitioner down in London, so she did the somatic breathwork session, and then my friend Katie did the Pilates class. But obviously, if you're doing it alone, you're not going to need those expenses either. So here is an overview of what happened on the day. So starting with the day before, actually, it was pretty chaotic, and I'd even booked the day off work, so that was needed, but it still went by super fast. And I thought it would be a good idea to bake cakes as well, which just was unnecessary, but I'm glad that I did because it was pretty good. Me and Luke each baked a cake and we did a cake off. Mine won. Mine was a lovely almond flour cake with raspberry and honey and orange and pistachios. It was pretty good. Mine won. His was a dark chocolate tart. And yeah, we spent the day before like baking, so the house was an absolute mess. And then what else was I doing? Oh yeah, that night, so the night before, I'd already got plans to go to a breathwork session, which was great. So it was 7 till 9, but with travel and everything, it ended up being like 6 till 10 p.m. And then when I got back, we decided to pack the car, so that was one less thing to do in the morning. And then I couldn't get to sleep for a while, so I probably went to sleep at about midnight, and we had a 6 a.m. wake up call. So I was a little bit sleep deprived. So we woke up in the morning. I couldn't really eat anything that much because I just felt rushed, and I was like, we're going to be late, even though it was hours before everyone was turning up. And then we got there and couldn't get into the building because we had a car parking space, and it turns out that the codes that they'd sent were outdated. I think they change them every month, so she sent me the wrong ones for October. So that was a bit of a panic, like, okay, we're not even able to get into the place, and I had to contact the owner first thing, like super early on a Saturday morning. I was like, please answer the phone, and they did, thankfully. So we got in a bit later than expected. Had to take my little dog out for a quick walk as we got there. And then it ended up being like we had an hour, just over an hour before everyone started to arrive. So I would have wanted longer than that to set up. It did feel a bit rushed. My friend came and helped out, but we managed to do it. We pulled it off. And it was just very tiring carrying everything up. And next time I will not be taking super heavy products. There was like a box of glass liquid supplements in there, and it's going to be very light things next time because I had stupid little dolly shoes on that were cute, but they have no proper sole. My mum always told me to look after my feet, and I didn't. I did it for the fashion on that day, not my health. So at the end of the day, my feet, my hips, my knees were absolutely killing. I was sweating because we were up and down. I was wearing jeans and a long sleeve top. And the building was quite an old building, so I just assumed that it was going to be a little bit colder, but it was actually heated and we were really hot. So all the windows had to be opened. And yeah, it was just tiring, like lugging boxes and boxes up the stairs. Next time, I will not have a coffee either because that didn't help the situation. I just felt more high adrenaline and more rushed from doing that. So herbal tea or matcha, at least for me next time. I was like, I'm a bit sleep deprived, this will help, but because my adrenaline and stress hormones were already high just from rushing and wanting everything to be good, it wasn't really stressful, but the coffee was a step too much. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while now, you've probably heard me talking about the importance of minerals. I know that you're trying to balance your hormones, detox your liver, heal your gut, but minerals are actually key for these things to happen. They really are the spark plugs of the body. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that unless you're working on mineral balancing, you're probably not going to see results when it comes to things like energy, skin, digestion, and period problems. So many of us are mineral deficient or imbalanced these days due to soil depletion, chronic stress, poor gut health, medication usage, and big mistakes that I see clients making is supplementing in the wrong way and following intense healing practices. Trying to DIY your health with self-supplementation, restricted diets, and crazy detoxes can actually throw your mineral levels out of whack. It's important to know which specific minerals you have to determine the treatment that you need, and that's exactly why I created my mineral balancing course, I'm Balanced, so that you can get your hands on my favourite functional lab test, the Hair Tissue Mineral Analysis. Yes, this can be done from anywhere in the world. Here's what you get in this programme. 1 complimentary HTMA test, over 8 hours of video education, helping you to understand your unique lab results and exactly what you need to do to balance things naturally. Plus the tools to support you and your family long-term with a deeper understanding of minerals. All this is just £447, including the lab test. Then long-term, you can just purchase additional tests for yourself and your loved ones, because this is a test that I recommend everyone does 1 to 2 times a year to make sure you're staying as balanced as possible. You could get started today with your hair sample and have answers within a few weeks once the results come back. Get instant access to the course material by clicking the link in the episode show notes. And then the guests arrived at 10 a.m. We had an initial talk at 10:30, just explaining how the day's going to go. Everyone had got a goodie bag, and I explained what the different products were inside. I'd also set up a little wellness station with some of my favorite products and tools and gadgets there, like my prana mat, which is an acupressure mat, my Bun Charge red light box, LED face mask. I had an infrared sauna there, so they could use them throughout the day. I just kept it plugged in all day long, so people during the breaks would have a little sauna session and have a little go on the red light machines. So yeah, just explain the different benefits of those things. And then did an icebreaker, which I know people don't like, but I thought it actually went down pretty well, and I couldn't shut people up. I was scared that they were going to be like a bit awkward, but I had to like shout and try and control the room because yeah, people were just like chatting away, and a lot of people came on their own. Some people brought someone along, but the majority came on their own. So I just wanted to make sure that people kind of knew who's who and get a chance to connect. So that was great. And then the next thing that the guest did was a Pilates class with my friend Katie, and I didn't partake in the other workshops because I just had some extra things to do. So while Katie led a full body, pretty gentle Pilates class, and we'd used a Pilates ball as well, so she brought some equipment, which was nice. And most of the room had tried Pilates before, but they all said Katie's such a good instructor. She just thinks that I'm saying it because she's my friend, but I honestly think she's really good. And I've tried a lot of different classes and things online. She's definitely one of my favorites. So as they all did a workout and worked up their appetite for lunch, I set up the lunch buffet. I didn't see the caterers arrive somehow. They just snuck in and left all of this delicious, amazing food out. But I got the extra little bits and set up the the table's ready to go, and the food that we had, so we had chicken drumsticks, and like chicken wings. I did some hard-boiled eggs. We had quinoa and wild rice salads, a fruit and veggie platter and dips, and then I'd been gifted some chocolate truffles and the cakes, obviously, that me and Luke had made. So it was a pretty good spread. I love my food, so I know how to put on a good buffet, and I love organizing and planning events. I think this is my Virgo personality coming out. Throughout the day, I also asked everyone to leave questions for the Q&A session in the afternoon. So after lunch, we did Q&A, and then I did a talk on stress, the nervous system, and mindset. And then we ended the day with a powerful somatic breath and body session with my client and amazing practitioner, Jasmine St. Clair. And I was going to partake in it, but I had some extra things to do. And my friend and Luke's mum were leaving, so I was saying bye to them. But I'm actually glad that I got to witness this session, because usually when I do breath work, like I'm in it and I'm doing it, but you don't actually see what's going on. And it was just really powerful. It actually made me cry. The energy in the room was insane. People were releasing trapped emotions and traumas, and she was doing like a laughter thing where we just let go of any energy, and just she started laughing, and it's obviously a fake laugh to begin, but then the whole room was just laughing, and it was just so cool to watch. Even my boyfriend Luke, he was like, that had an impact on me. That was powerful. That was really good. So that was very fun, and thank you to both of those lovely ladies. And we did run over on time a little bit, so next time I'll probably say like this is a rough guide, because I know people book their trains and have to go home, so I would probably do like a 30-minute grace period where we could perhaps run over. We're probably not going to ever go shorter. It'll probably be like a 30-minute window, so they don't need to rush off and they can know that they're definitely going to finish by the latest time. I loved every minute, had such good feedback, and it played out exactly how I envisioned it would. I'm telling you, visualization, mental rehearsal, vision boards, these things work, people. And when we finished, I said bye to everyone. Thanks to everyone who had traveled for hours. I had one client, Daisy, and her mum. They traveled up from like Epping area, Epping Forest, and it took like 3.5 hours. I had my client Nika and her partner travel from Slovenia, which is insane. I actually didn't ask people outside of the UK to come. I didn't really invite them to begin, but then I think she like heard that I was doing it. She's like, "Can I come?" I was like, "Of course." I just didn't expect people would want to travel so far, but she made a little trip of it and came to Manchester for her birthday with her partner. And yeah, she had a lovely day on the Saturday. And then by the end of the day, I was honestly drained. Another note to self, please try to not schedule an event when you're on your period, like I was. And I know it's pretty hard for me to know exactly when that's going to be in 6 months' time, because like the months can change slightly, or your cycle can change slightly, but I don't think it would have drained me so much if I was mid-cycle and at ovulation. But hey ho, these things happen. And when we got home, we just weren't in the mood for cooking, so we had some leftover food, and we just like ate random bits of fruit and chicken and leftover chocolates and nuts. And I just laid on the couch and was, yeah, just knackered. And then Luke ended up going out. He was like, "My friend's leaving do at work is on, so I'm going to go out." I'm like, "Where do you get your energy?" This is the difference between menstruating women and men. And I was on the couch for a bit, just watching back Instagram stories and posting a few things. But then I was like, I need to go to bed. And this was about 8:30. I couldn't stay awake any longer. But then I got in bed and I couldn't sleep. So I had the bottom, like my waist down, was just in so much pain. It was insane. From the stupid shoes, which are now in the bin because the sole also came away with all of the up and down the stairs all day. The fact that I've been up and down the stairs, and I have hypermobility, so I've not had this for a while, but when I'm stood up for a long time and my body is a little bit more tense, I tend to lock out my knees. I used to get this often when I worked in retail, and I'd be like stood up all day long behind the customer service desk. But I think I'd been locking out my knees all day too. And then I just had pain in my back and my hips and everything. So I was exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. So then I had to use a hot water bottle, some antihistamine supplements, cod liver oil, magnesium. I was just at like 10 o'clock at night, just in my kitchen with my eye mask on my head, my blanket, trying to find some remedies to help me get off to sleep. And it eventually worked. Luke then came in like an hour or two later. I don't even know what time it was, but I was like, please don't touch me or speak to me. He's like, okay. I just didn't want to get distracted and not be able to sleep again, so I felt bad, but he understood. The next day, I would recommend, like mine was, for it to be as chilled as possible. I had a lie-in, I just let everything sink in. I sorted everything out because the house was a mess again with all the empty boxes and leftover products. And I was in desperate need of a massage, so Luke kindly he sent me a message. He was like, "I sent you £40 to your account. Go and treat yourself. You deserve it. Thank you so much for helping him the past few months because he's had a job change and he's been finishing off his health coaching certification." So we love that. What a babe. But yeah, had the best time and cannot wait for the next. I'm already planning it and thinking maybe April 2025 at the same venue is going to be the goal. But stay tuned. If you came and you want to do it all over again in 6 months' time, or you missed out this time round and you want to have another opportunity, I would love to meet you. I really think the in-person stuff is super powerful and where it's at now. I have been on the online space for years and still really love that and will continue to do that definitely. And it's been what's connected me to these people in different countries and all up and down the UK. But just being able to hug a client and interact with them in person is so special. And hopefully this becomes a regular thing moving forward. If you do want to check out some of the content from the day, I have a saved highlight on my Instagram profile and stay tuned for tickets opening for that next year event when that gets booked in. If you're not already following me on social media, I'm at Viva Natural Health, or you can visit my website, vivanaturalhealth.co.uk, to join my mailing list for any updates. I always put the latest updates and new things come in on the first. So thank you so much for listening. If you came, thank you so much. And it was so good meeting you in person. And I hope you found this episode useful. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would love for you to leave me a rating and review on your podcast app, as this helps to support the show and it allows it to reach more people with this valuable information. Come and say hi over on Instagram. I'm at Viva Natural Health. And if you haven't already, check out my website, vivanaturalhealth.co.uk, for tons more free resources and to discover how I could support you further. I currently offer one-on-one consultation packages if you want my top level support, then more affordable group programs and self-paced online courses. So there really is something for everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you back here next week for another episode.